Okay. All right. Hello, guys. I don't know if anyone is watching already, but we'll live anyway.
Hi, guys.
So I don't think anyone's there yet. So we'll wait a bit. Oh, first one. Hello. Thank you very much for joining. As usual, we will wait a couple more seconds, minutes, just to give you a chance of like more of you to join us and join this live stream, and then we'll start with the actual topic, which today is leaving the Czech Republic. If you've had enough and you want to leave the Czech Republic as a foreigner, so what you need to do, because there are many things. Some people think, okay, I want to leave, I just leave and that's it. But there are many things you should keep in mind when you're leaving, and some of them very important, which can like cost you a lot of money if you don't deal with them properly when you're leaving. So we'll cover all these topics because it's the end of the year. Many people move here with January. Many people move out with January. So we'll cover this topic as well because we think it's important to not only come in here, settling up, getting all the things done, but also when you're leaving, there are things you need to do. So we'll be covering this today.
Yeah, as always, if all the people who are with us right now, if you could let us know if you can hear us well and see us well, that it's really helpful as usual. Yeah, and we'll be starting in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so guys, please comment, send us thumbs up or something if you can see us, if you can hear us, so we know that everything is set up properly. And we'll start soon. Oh.
Don't be shy, just Oh, hi Paul, thank you very much for your comment. We hope you are not considering leaving the Czech Republic.
Especially now, when everything is done. Yeah. Alright, so let's jump into the topic.
Yeah, today's topic I think is going to be a little bit shorter than we do usually. So if you've been following us for a while, you know that we do this live streams, 90 minutes live streams every month. With different topics. If you didn't have a chance to take a look at our previous live streams, you can find those on our Facebook page at the video section, because we save every live stream.
On YouTube as well?
On YouTube as well, but as soon as you are now on Facebook, you can find on the video section. And they're also like during the live streams, you can ask your questions and we also answer them live. And we had already live streams on long-term residency, on temporary residency, for residency for European Union citizens and their family members.
Permanent residency.
As well, yeah. So we're going to have this one, and we're also going to have another one
in January?
In January, right?
And that will be about general options, general visa options. Because now today's topic is about leaving the Czech Republic, and January will be like general coming to the Czech Republic. So all types of visas, long-term, short-term, long-term residencies, employee cards, basically all the options that are available. That will be done next month in January. Today we'll be talking more about leaving the Czech Republic and what you need to do when you consider leaving or when you're leaving already. Okay. So most of you know us, I guess, but just in case you don't, it's your first time here on the live stream. My name is Jan, she's Daria, and we are co-founders and co-owners of Move to Prague Relocation Experts and Your First Friends in Prague. We basically deal with everything related to expats or foreigners moving to the Czech Republic. So all the visa-related matters, business-related matters, accommodation, health insurance, basically one-stop shop for everything you need if you're an expat and you're moving to the Czech Republic. Okay, let's jump right into the topic. We'll be covering it now, and that's leaving the Czech Republic. Doesn't matter if you are an EU citizen or if you're from outside of the EU, if you've been living here for 10 years or like just for 1 year, you still should keep some things in mind when you're moving out. We'll talk about 3 main topics today, like the general things which you should think about. those are mainly like canceling your lease agreement, dealing with internet, phone provider. That's actually crucial because there can be huge fines and huge amounts of money you need to pay if you don't cancel those. So we'll cover that in a second. Also, like canceling versus keeping your bank account. So that will be the first subtopic, let's say. Then we'll talk about the trade license. If you're a business owner, if you're like a freelancer, self-employed person, you have the trade license and you are leaving, then you should do a couple of things as well. And you need to keep in mind that you, for example, will need to do the tax return for this year, next year, when you're already gone. So we'll discuss this as well in a second. And the last thing will be about canceling your visa, residence permits, everything related to this part of the moving out. All right. Again, if you have any questions, please write in the comments.
Yeah, that's why I have my computer here, not because I don't know, I'm bored and I'm just looking at it, but because I'll be reading your comments and questions.
Yeah, so please feel free to ask questions. We're here for you. This is a free immigration advice, so use it. Ask your questions. No questions are stupid. Okay, so the first thing, general topics if you're moving out of the Czech Republic. You should definitely, what you should do and what you should keep in mind, what are the most important things. You should definitely cancel your lease agreement. If you're leaving at the end of your lease, that's fine, you don't need to do anything special. But if you're moving somewhere in the middle of the lease, you definitely need to sort this out or discuss it with your landlord in advance. Because depending on your landlord or the contract, whatever it says, you might need to give like 2 or 3 months leaving notice. So if you just remember that, yeah, I haven't dealt with my lease agreement and I'm moving out in 2 weeks, that could be pretty complicated for you. So we definitely recommend you to get in touch with the landlord as soon as you're you're sure or you're thinking about leaving. Discuss it, because many landlords are like fine and they will tell you, okay, maybe find someone else to replace you, take over the lease, or I will keep your deposit and you can move anytime, even tomorrow, or no, you will have to keep the 3 months leave notice. I will not let you go in any other case. So definitely you need to discuss this with the landlord. Some of them will be nice and you will find some solution which is good for both sides. Some landlords are more strict and more by the book. So you definitely need to consider this. If you just move out, we've heard of such cases. We had such cases that people just moved, left the apartment, left the keys there. That's an option as well, but it's probably not really a thing you should do, because first, it's not good to the landlord, it's not respectful. Second, it could also create some trouble for you, because first of all, you will definitely lose the deposit. Second, it might be more complicated for you to find an apartment if you ever decide to move back. It would also impact the whole market, because if this starts happening a lot and landlords know that foreigners move without any notice and just left keys there, people might start considering not renting flats to foreigners, which is something no one wants. So it's definitely respectful, and also it will make your life easier if you let the landlord know as soon as possible, as soon as you know that you might be leaving. Anything to add? No?
No, not really.
Okay, so then the next 2 things you should definitely take care of before you leave is the internet and phone contracts. Those companies, especially some of them, are really, not really flexible, and sometimes first of all, it's very complicated to cancel anything if you're not here. If you leave and then you remember, oh, I didn't cancel my phone plan, it's very difficult to do that, especially with some companies if you're not physically in the Czech Republic. They also usually, they will allow you, in most cases, they will allow you to cancel your subscription or the plan you have, but there are some fines for that. You, for example, need to pay 20% of the remaining fees. So if you sign the contract for 2 years, and you leave after 3 months, you will still need to pay 20% of the remaining 21 months or something. So definitely sort out this or discuss it with your provider as well, long enough in advance, because we've been receiving many letters for people who left like months ago or years ago, and first it's the actual company, the phone provider, who sends you a letter saying you have this debt, please cover it within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and everything will be fine. But if you're not here, and especially if you, for example, cancel your bank account in the Czech Republic and you don't pay that, they usually give it to a lawyer, and then the lawyer sends you a letter, and of course you need to pay the debt to the company plus the cost of the lawyer, plus this like increases, and if you move out to, and if you go back to, I don't know, the US or India or Italy or anywhere, and you never come back to the Czech Republic, you might never like have any real problems with like having a debt here, but if you ever decide to come back, those companies will find you. So if you leave for like 5 years and then come back, then even like a debt of 1,000 crowns can go up to like 40,000 crowns just for a phone bill, because there will be the debt, there will be interest, there will be the lawyer's fees, and it can, we've seen such cases, so it can increase pretty like significantly the amount you owe. So definitely this should be one of the first things to start canceling, or at least discuss, find out the exact rules, what they want you to do before you move out of the Czech Republic, because that's very, very important and it could cost you a lot of money potentially.
It's very important to get any kind of confirmation for them, because a lot of times we hear that people go there, they say yes I cancelled, but they didn't give me anything, and then in some time, in half a year or something, they receive a bill that actually they never canceled the plan, and they still have to pay the remaining balance. So it's very important, if you go there somewhere and they say yes it's cancelled, you can relax, require confirmation anyway. Just say I need a confirmation in written, sign it here that I like that it's over.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Have everything on paper. The same with your lease, with this cancellation, with anything else. Because what you don't have on paper, you can never prove it. So another thing is your bank account. When you're moving out of the Czech Republic, you basically have two options. Either keep your bank account open or cancel it, close it before you leave. Depends on what is better for you. In general, we would probably recommend keeping the bank account open for some more time, for a couple reasons. First, exactly what we discussed now. So if you need to pay some like fee for canceling your internet or your phone plan, and you no longer have a Czech bank account, it might get pretty complicated for you to pay that. So that's one reason. Second reason, especially if you work as a self-employed person, you still we'll cover that topic in a couple minutes when we get there to the trade license cancellation. But you still need to pay your taxes next year, or social security, healthcare, everything. And if you don't have a Czech bank account, everything gets more difficult. We've seen that many times before as well. People then either send money to someone in the Czech Republic through, I don't know, TransferWise or something, and then the person needs to send it to the social security. It gets complicated, so it's easier if you keep the bank account open. Another advantage is, or like thing which can support this decision, is that usually you can switch to some kind of account which only has like the basic functions, the limited amount of transactions you can make and everything, but usually you don't have to pay anything for that. Depends of course on the bank and the plan you have and everything, but in general it's possible to like just downgrade your bank account status, so it will be open. You can make transfers if need to be to the social security or the phone provider or something, but you will not be paying any unnecessary fees to the bank. So that could actually make it a bit easier. And I believe that many banks now can close the bank account even without you being here. Sometimes there is the option of doing it from your online banking. So definitely, if you can keep the bank account open, keep some money there just in case you need to pay some fees to the phone provider, internet provider, social security, or any other places. Good. Anything? No. Guys, if you have any questions, please ask. comment. We'll be happy to answer those. Of course, different topics as well, but now we're mainly talking about leaving the Czech Republic and everything you need to do. So if you have any questions, please, or you want to share your experience, please comment there as well. Send us messages. We'll be happy to answer everything.
Yeah, that's a very specific topic. I understand that leaving the Czech Republic. But it's always better to know all the specifics and know all this information before you actually leave, so it doesn't cause you any trouble. So yeah, we're here for you. So just ask your questions or just come by, say hi, so we know you're here.
Yep. All right. So the next topic: freelancers. If you have a trade license, doesn't matter if you're an EU citizen or if you're a third country national, if you're from outside of the EU, but as long as you have a trade license. And you live in the Czech Republic, there are very important things you need to do. First thing, either cancel or pause your trade license. What's the difference between that? The difference is that if you pause the trade license, it can automatically reactivate itself after some specific amount of time. So if you know that you're leaving for half a year but you will be back, you can pause the trade license just for half a year, and then once you come back, it automatically gets reactivated. So that will make your life much easier. But in this case, if you want to do it this way, you need to be sure that you're coming back, because if you don't come back, the trade license will anyway reactivate. So but it's an option. Usually more popular option is to pause the trade license indefinitely. That means that the trade license office will pause it until whatever date in 2099. So if you cancel the pause the trade license today, what's today, 17th of December, they will pause the trade license until the 17th of December 2099. So most likely, of course, if you live long enough, it will reactivate. But for most people, I believe it will just expire. So if there is a chance you might come back, but you're not sure exactly when, you can pause the trade license for indefinite time and just reactivate it when you come back. The reactivation process is pretty simple. Basically, you will not. The main plus is that you will not need to pay the new fee for reactivating the trade license when you're getting a new one, and it will be just easier. You will not need to submit new business seat, consent, anything like that. So you will just go to the trade license office, say, hey, I want to reactivate the trade license. They will do that. So this is especially helpful for people from the EU, because the trade license for EU citizens is for indefinite period. So you can pause it for indefinite period as well. For family members of EU citizens, because once you have the temporary residence permit, the partnership visa, your trade license is also valid for indefinite period, or for people with permanent residence permit, because in that case it also creates a trade license for indefinite period. If you're not an EU citizen or none of these cases, then your trade license usually expires with the validity of your visa or residence permit. So if you, for example, have the employee card for 2 years and you also have the trade license as a side activity, the trade license has the same validity as your employee card. So in theory, if you're leaving at the end of the validity of your visa or residence permit, you don't really need to cancel the trade license, because it will expire automatically along with your visa or residence permit. But if you're leaving before the visa or residence permit expires, then you should definitely cancel the trade license as well. Why? The thing is that if you keep the trade license active, the Social Security, healthcare will still expect the payments from you, the monthly payments, the monthly fees. So if you, for example, leave in January, but you keep your trade license open until your visa expires in September, for example, then you will still need to pay for 9 months of the Social Security and healthcare, even if you're not here. So it kind of doesn't make sense. Or another option, if you just forget about it and you don't pay that, you will have debt with the government. So whenever you decide to come back, or even if you don't decide to come back, you'll have a huge debt in the Social Security healthcare system. So that's very important to think about this and make sure that you either pause the trade license or cancel it when you're leaving.
Now we actually have a question. How about the Social Security fund and taxes while living in the Czech Republic? Thanks.
Yeah, Divesh, thank you very much for the comment. As long as your trade license is active, Social Security and healthcare expect payments from you. So if you, for example, I don't know if the question is about like leaving the Czech Republic. Yeah, leaving completely.
Yeah.
If you only wanted to go home for holidays for a month or two, it makes no sense to cancel the trade license or pause it, because like you will spend more time, more money just going there, pausing it and reactivating it in like 1 month. So in that case, just keep it open. But in that case, of course, you will need to keep paying the Social Security and healthcare, even if you don't do any work, because you're away for 1 or 2 months. But it's easier and better to do it this way. If you leave in for good, then definitely cancel the trade license, and we can actually now like talk about it in details. So if you leave in for good and you want to cancel the trade license, or even if you just pause it for indefinite period, what you need to do? First, you need to report that you stopped the trade license, paused, cancelled to all the authorities, so to the Social Security, Healthcare, Income Tax Office. Because if you don't report it, they might eventually find out, but they usually don't care. They don't do it like themselves. And even if the trade license office tells you that they will report it, it doesn't always happen. So you should still make sure that you go to the Social Security, you go to the tax office, you go to the healthcare provider, and show them the cancelled or paused trade license and tell them, hey, please deregister me. I'm quitting or I'm pausing the trade license, so I don't have to pay the Social Security and healthcare. Because if you don't do that, they will still be expecting the payments from you. You could then, a couple months later, a couple years later, you could argue that, yeah, but I canceled the trade license, you just didn't know about that, but that would still be kind of your fault. So it's definitely worth going to all these authorities, Social Security, healthcare, income tax, and report it yourself that, okay, I'm quitting, I'm pausing, and please deregister me here. So that's definitely first thing you should do. Another thing, and very important, this is like very, very, very important, that you still have some duties even if you leave the Czech Republic. Because if you, let's say, let's make it like a concrete example. Let's say you have a trade license now, you're leaving at the end of December, and you will never be coming back. So definitely pause the trade license, cancel the trade license, report it to all those authorities, leave. But then keep in mind that because your trade license was active in 2020, you will still need to do your tax return and Social Security and healthcare reports in 2021 for 2020. So even if you're not in the Czech Republic anymore, you will still need to submit the tax return, Social Security report, and healthcare report if it applies to you, the healthcare. So ideally, you should take care of this also before you leave. So get in touch with an accountant. If you have your own accountant, get in touch with him or her. If you don't have an accountant, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to recommend the guy we work with. He's really, really good. And tell him, hey, this will be my last month. He will ask you to send all the invoices or all the information he needs. He will prepare the tax return. He will prepare the Social Security report, the healthcare report, and you will just submit it, or he will submit it on your behalf based on the power of attorney next year, because he will not be physically here. If you don't do this, if you don't do the Social Security report, if you don't do the tax return, if you don't do the healthcare report, that could have serious consequences for you in the future. First thing, most likely you will have some debts to the government, either through the Social Security system or through the through your income tax, or through the healthcare system. You will have debts, most likely. And of course, the debt, if you never pay that, that will be increasing, there will be interest and everything. Plus, if you don't, it's your law, like legal duty to submit the tax return, even if you're not here. So they could even fine you for not doing that. I don't remember how much the fines can be, but that can be pretty high. So if they fine you, let's say 10,000 crowns, of course the interest will be counted from that as well. So again, if you don't do this, and especially if you decide to come back later, the authorities will know that you're back, and they will send you a bill for your original debt was like 10,000 crowns, 15,000 crowns, and they will send you a bill for 40,000 crowns, because there will be the original debt, there will be like interest, there will be late payment fees. Maybe they will already give it to a lawyer, and all those fees will like appear when you come back to the Czech Republic. So especially if you're thinking about coming back, or if there is the option that it might happen, definitely make sure that you submit the tax return, that you submit the Social Security and healthcare report. That's super important. And it's kind of easy to do it now if it's the end of the year, because you know that, okay, I've been working the whole year, so it makes sense that I will do tax return next year. But the same principle applies even if you leave in February, for example. Because if you keep your trade license active until, let's say, February 2021, and then you leave, you will need to submit your tax return in 2022. So that will be basically 1 year from that moment when you leave the Czech Republic, and it's easy to forget it. And then again, you can get into serious trouble that you didn't submit the tax return, didn't submit the Social Security report, all that. So definitely make sure you deal with taxes before you leave. It's easy to get in touch with an accountant. They will tell you what to do. They can take care of it. They can prepare everything like right away, and then they will just submit it next year. So it's not that complicated, but it's definitely, you definitely should do it before you leave, because as everything in the Czech Republic, if you try to do something distantly, it's not that easy. So that's super important topic. Hopefully, Divyesh, I answered everything. If you have some additional questions, let me know. But submitting your tax return, submitting your Social Security report, healthcare report is super important, and definitely get in touch with an accountant before you leave, because not doing so could have serious consequences for you. Actually, one thing, especially if you decide to come back and apply for, if you had a business visa, for example, if you had a business residence permit, you had the živno, trade license, and you were a freelancer, you left, you didn't submit your tax return, and then you come back next time, besides the debt you might have there with all the authorities, it might also be a trouble for your visa, because the Ministry of the Interior might be checking those as well, because you already had the trade license, you already had the business visa, and they will be checking if you followed all the rules, if you followed the law. And if they find out that you didn't, that you have a huge debt in Social Security, that you didn't submit your tax return, it could even lead to denying your visa, because they will say, hey, the previous time you didn't follow the law, so we will not give you the visa this time. So especially if you need a visa, make sure that that everything is submitted correctly to avoid any problems in the future. Divyesh. Yeah, thank you, Divyesh. Okay, so the next topic, when you leave in the Czech Republic, what to do about your visa, residence permit, your like temporary residence certificate, whatever type of visa or residence permit, residence certificate you have.
Yeah, we made this question of if you are considered living in the Czech Republic, and if yes, why? And 100% of you wrote that you are not considering living in the Czech Republic, which is why, like, on one hand is great, we're very happy to hear that. On the other hand, if you have any other questions why you're here, then if you have any kind of legal question or anything concerning visas or trade license, insurance, anything, don't be shy. Just write it in the chat, and we will get back to you about that.
Yeah. All right. But if you're one of those who are considering leaving the Czech Republic, what you should do about your visa or residence permit, like. Generally speaking, if your visa or residence permit or temporary residence, whatever, expires with you leaving, or like shortly after you leave, let's say 1 month, 2 months, you might not need to do anything. Especially if you have a visa, just the visa sticker in your passport, let's say it's valid until the end of January, you're leaving now. You don't really need to do anything special about that. You might want to send a letter to the ministry saying, okay, hey, I'm leaving, so they know, and in case you decide to come back in the future, they will see that you were proactive and that you let them know. But in general, if your visa expires like in 1 month, 2 months, you don't really need to do anything. Definitely just close your trade license, cancel everything we discussed before, like the internet, phone bills, make sure you submit your tax return, all this, so what we've discussed. But about your visa, you don't really need to do anything. Different situation if you already have the residence card or the kind of booklet, if you have residence permits, because those are a property of the Czech Republic. So even if your residence permit expires like 1 month or 2 months after you leave, you should definitely send it back to the ministry. The reason for that, first, it's a property of the Czech Republic, so you should return it because of that. Second, if you, for example, lose it or something and someone uses it as like fake the documents, or like they use it to enter the Czech Republic, you might get in trouble because of that as well. Because if you, for example, use your residence permit, someone replaces the photo and like moves here based on that and commits any crime or anything, it could go after you. So make sure, for those two reasons, make sure that you return the residence permit. If it's like ending or expiring within a month or two, just like write some simple letter, hey, I'm living in the Czech Republic, here is the card. Simple like that, it's enough. The ministry will see that you did what you had to do, that you send them a letter, that you were proactive. And again, it will be beneficial for you if you ever decide to come back and apply for a new visa. Different situation is if you're living like in the middle of validity of your residence, or your residence permit. Definitely, in that case, you should definitely return the card. You should definitely send the ministry a letter, because there is some procedure they need to follow. If you for example have an employee card valid for 2 years, you're in the middle of the term and you're leaving, the ministry officially need to, when you send them a letter saying, hey, I want to cancel my employee card, they should officially send you a letter saying, okay, we've received this application, you still have like 15 days to take it back, or if it wasn't you who submitted the application, let us know. And then only when this happens, they will start canceling the residency. There's some process behind that. And as mentioned before, the card is anyway, or the booklet or whatever kind of residence permit you have, it's the property of the Czech Republic. So you need to report it, but it's like return it to the ministry. And it's always good to send a letter explaining why you need to leave, and kind of just a couple sentences, but they will see that you're a good citizen. Yeah, that's the main thing, I guess. This same thing goes for the EU citizens and non-EU citizens. Another thing maybe to mention, if you're just leaving, but let's say you're an EU citizen, you have the certificate of temporary residence, and you're moving out. If there is a chance that you will move back to the Czech Republic like in short amount of time, it's maybe a good idea to keep it, and then because if you get the certificate of temporary residence, it has 10 years validity. So of course you should not like get it, move out for 5 years and then come back and still like have the residency. That would not be like really good in eyes of the law. But if you leave for just a couple months and then you come back, it probably makes no sense to like return the certificate and then apply again and getting it again in like 3 months or something. So this might be one scenario, but in general, if you're leaving, and especially if you know that you will not be coming back, you should always return the residence card, the residence certificate, booklet, whatever you have, and write some short explanation letter to the ministry telling them that you are leaving. Okay, that's probably everything I had to say. Maybe just where to return it. It's you return it to the authority which issued that. So the Ministry of the Interior. Usually you send it to the branch you fall under. So if you live in Prague 4, you send it to Prague 4. If you live in Prague 6, you send it to Prague 6. Basically the same place where you collected it from, where you picked up the residency, you return it to the same place. If you're not sure, if you've changed your address and everything, you're not sure where to send it, there is also the general address of the ministry, and you can send it there as well. It's important that you send it to them. If you send it, make sure that you send it by registered mail. So there is a proof that you sent a letter to the ministry, and in case the card gets lost, or then they tell you like months later, hey, you've never received any like package from you or anything, you have a proof that you mailed it. Yeah, so just to sum it up, of course, if you have any questions, guys, please ask, send us questions, send us comments.
Yeah, as mentioned in the beginning, this is a very specific topic. So we thought it was going to be a little bit shorter than our usual, almost 2 hours streams every month. Yeah, and especially while 100% of you told us that you are actually not planning to leave the Czech Republic. I understand you probably don't have a lot of questions, but if you have any, there's your last chance. Oh, hi, yes. Jonathan, thank you for the question. Right on time. Hi, what is the maximum time allowed to leave the Czech Republic without returning the residence permit? Well, officially you have to return it either before you actually leave or just right after you leave. You can mail it. So how they phrase it is that you have to return it as soon as possible. Of course, if you leave, nobody exactly, well, they can know. Well, it depends where you live too. If they can find out, that you're not coming back, that you decided to stay there, maybe you just went somewhere outside the Czech Republic for vacation. So basically, they have no idea to know how long you're going to stay in case your residence permit's expired already and you have to return it. Return it as soon as possible. Usually they say within, I think, 3 working days. It's usually like the general rule to return it within the 3 working days. Otherwise, they can give you quite a big fine. Just today, I was at the ministry and a client next to me, not our client, but a client next to me in the Ministry of Interior hasn't returned his residency card, I think in half a year. He came to pick up a new one and they told him that they're going to fine him 10,000 crowns. So you don't want to pay 10,000 crowns to the Ministry of Interior, so just try and return it as soon as possible. Of course, like if you're now in the process of something, so, I think in majority of cases, if you come and say, I'm sorry, I didn't return it, blah, 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 they will say, okay, don't do that again, but you never know who you meet at the ministry, so it is possible.
Yeah. There are also 2 more things I would mention with this, Jonathan. First, it depends on what kind of residence permit you have. Because in some cases, the ministry cannot really find out that you left, or there are no rules, and if you just leave for a couple months and then come back, especially if you're, let's say, an EU citizen, you have the certificate of temporary residence, probably the risk or the rules are slightly different. But if you, for example, have the employee card and you leave the Czech Republic, you only have 60 days to find a new employer and report it to the ministry, and if you don't find a new employer, if you don't report a new employer to the Ministry of the Interior, they will start the cancellation process anyway, because there are just rules like that if you have the employee card and you leave a job, you have 60 days to find a new one. Otherwise, the employee card will be cancelled. And there are different rules for different residence permits and different visas. So I guess we cannot say in general how long you can stay outside of the Czech Republic and when you should return the card. But it depends on what kind of visa or residence permit you have. Another thing is that, like the reason why you left and if you're coming back, because there are some, if you, for example, come back and you want to apply for a permanent residence permit after 5 years of living here, or 2 years in some cases, they will be counting the time you spent outside of the Czech Republic. So that would be how long you stayed outside of the Czech Republic, would determine if you can get the permanent residency or not. So it's like a very complicated topic, and it depends on what kind of residence permit or visa or long-term residence you have. So if you want to share maybe a bit more about what exactly you have, what kind of permit you have, or either here, or if you want to get in touch with us privately, that's fine as well. Let us know. In general, if you're leaving and you know that you are leaving and you will never be coming back, return the card as soon as you can. If you keep it for a bit because you want to travel, for example, within Europe, and then you know that you'll be coming back, or that you will be returning the card after like 2 months of traveling in Europe, that's fine, because anyway the residence permit from the Czech Republic allows you to travel up to 90 days within other Schengen countries, so that might be fine. It's a general rule. Return it as soon as possible after you leave, but it depends on exactly what is your situation and what kind of visa or residence permit you have.
Oh, you have partnership visa.
Yeah. Well, then if you're still with the partner, then just keep it. Because if you come back to the Czech Republic, everything will be easier for you. But if you're no longer with the partner and you're leaving, then definitely like report it, because as soon as possible and as soon as you leave, because this is a very meaning that you're like a third country national, and this is a very good type of residence permit, giving you plenty of rights. And if the ministry finds out that you are no longer with your partner, and you've never reported that, and you've kept the residency for a long time without like returning it and without reporting that you're no longer together, then it could be a serious problem for you if you ever come back and apply for a different type of visa. But if you know that you just need to leave for some time and then you will be coming back, that's completely fine. So yeah, I hope this answers the question. If not, please let us know more. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So guys, if you have any more questions, it's been already 40 minutes, which flies.
Yeah, I think we will be finishing soon. If you have any particular question you have, I think 2 more minutes to ask them. Otherwise, we will be slowly disconnected from you and just awkwardly sitting here.
Yeah, of course, we'll also please join us if you're not interested in leaving the Czech Republic and you're more interested in staying or leaving. Either go through our previous live streams. We have recordings here on Facebook. We have some recordings on YouTube. So if you Google permanent residency Czech Republic on YouTube, YouTube it, then you'll find the recordings. We've covered topics of extension of your residence permit. So if you have a business visa or employee card or whatever, we've covered extensions in the past. We've covered the permanent residence permit. What else we've covered in the past? The EU citizens, like temporary residents, family members, the partnership visas, as Jonathan has. We've covered all these topics in the previous live streams. All the recordings are available, so feel free to go through those. We'll have another live stream in January, but that will be more focused on people who don't have much experience with the visas or who are moving here. So it will be more like general visa topics, like what kind of visas are available, what purposes of stay, how to do it when you're moving here, what to think about, what to consider, all this. So that will be in January. I don't know the exact date, but it will be Thursday for sure, and starting like 5 o'clock.
I'm putting the link now in the chat, so you can go there and just say that you're going, so you can also receive the notification that the event is starting.
Yeah, and of course, we're still working, so if you need any assistance or if you have any questions or anything, even during the holidays or early next year, we'll be happy to hear from you. Get in touch, send us a message, call us, send us an email. Emails usually work the best, or calls, so call us, send us an email. We'll be happy to help, we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah.
Like us, you probably like us on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. So, and if not, like us. We share a lot of interesting information about everything, about like visa related stuff, trade license related stuff, some general information as well about like Christmas markets and stuff. So definitely make sure that you follow us, that you like us, and we share good content there.
Okay.
Like 10 more seconds maybe to ask your question. So maybe if you started writing a question, just like write me, and we'll wait. Otherwise we'll disconnect soon. We also wish you a Merry Christmas, actually, because we'll probably, if you don't get in touch, this is probably the last chance to see us before Christmas. So enjoy. Me, George.
Oh.
Okay.
Hello, I have a question about student visas. How much earlier than the start of studies is it possible to enter the Czech Republic? For example, studies begin on 1st October, can I enter the country from August on a student visa? But unfortunately, you will only be able to enter the country only till from the first day of the validity of your visa. I mean, of course, if you are, I don't know where you're from, if you have the 90-day stay in the Czech Republic, then you can, or in Schengen, you can come earlier. on your 90 days and then continue on your visa. If not, unfortunately, the first day you can actually enter the first day of the validity of your visa.
Yeah. In some cases, it might be like a couple days before, but it always depends on the validity of your visa. So maybe if your accommodation starts like 5 days before your school, the ministry might be able to approve your visa like starting 5 days before the school actually starts. But in general, the visa starts when your school starts, and that's when you get the visa and when you can enter.
Yeah, you're from the US, you're afraid the borders will still be closed this summer for touring. It could happen. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Then you would only be able to come in on your visa, unfortunately.
Yeah, you could try to apply for a shortened visa, but I'm not sure if it's like worth it or not. Hopefully the borders will be open for tourists from the US in 2021 some point.
Summer is very ahead. So maybe it's gonna be alright till then, and the tourism will be back to normal. Or maybe by that time, for example, there's gonna be a special agreement, and with some kind of letter from the school, you would be able to enter earlier. So, but nobody knows. Everything is changing literally every 2 weeks here. So it's possible that there's gonna be some exception, and they're gonna let people in a little bit before that, with some concrete exception.
Yeah, for example, now if you have a partner from the Czech Republic or EU, you can get a special kind of letter from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying that you are in a relationship with an EU citizen and that the border officers should let you in. So that works now, and it works pretty well. So maybe there will be something like that. If, of course, this crazy situation continues, that there will be exceptions like that for students as well. Because, for example, now most of embassies are closed and they don't accept visa applications, but usually the visa applications they accept are student visas. So there are already some exceptions for students, so maybe that will be something like that there as well.
Yeah, maybe it's gonna be, yeah, but George, advice for you from us: in 1 month, I don't know if you had a chance to hear us when we were explaining this, we're going to have another live stream with general visa types, and student visa is going to be one of those types we're going to talk about. So I shared the link here. It's going to be, I think, on the 21st of January on Facebook again. So you can connect, and we'll be talking about other visa options, including the studies. So maybe there's something that will be interesting for you as well.
Yeah. Also, if the school maybe could give you like a confirmation that because they usually list when the courses start and when they finish. So like 1st of October 2021 till 31st of September 2022. So if they can make it like a couple days later, you might be able to get a visa for that period, and you might be able to enter earlier. But in general, as Daria mentioned, that when your school starts, then your visa starts, and you can enter the Czech Republic. But let's see, we hope that next year will be better and more flexible than this one, so hopefully everything will be back to normal, and you will be able to travel here with your 90 days visa-free stay.
Okay.
Okay,
guys, thank you very much for joining us. You can also later, if you're watching the recording and not the live video, you can ask a question in the chat. We will see it, and we will also answer you in the chat later. So yeah.
Yep. So thank you very much, guys, again with this specific topic. Many of you joined anyway, so we're happy for that. We're happy also that you're not leaving the Czech Republic. How many? Yeah. 86% of you are not considering moving out of the Czech Republic, so that's great. But we still hope that this was useful, or it will be useful in the future, because as mentioned a couple times, there will be a recording of this session available on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel. So maybe this will be useful in the future. Also, if you like what we do, please feel free to share the recording. Please feel free to talk about us, recommend the live streams, everything. We'll be happy to help.
Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.
Merry Christmas. Bye bye guys.